everyone, welcome to another Classic Movie Monday. Apologize, I had to delay this video. Unfortunately, Labor Day kept me away from being able to make videos, but I should be caught up by the end of today. So without further ado, for this particular Classic Movie Monday, I thought it would be interesting to discuss a famous 1950 film titled Sunset Boulevard. This one is, I think, well recognized by the movie-going community, especially people who are familiar with older styles of filmmaking. This one is also quite interesting because it focuses on Hollywood. Usually films, at least even around the era of the 50s, didn't, I think, really talk too much um, about Hollywood within the context of the film. More so, they talked about different things that had some kind of plot that wasn't really, again, centered around the world of Hollywood. But this film does kind of dive into that. Without really giving too much away, this piece focuses on an aging silent movie star. Her name is, and I want to make sure that I get this right, Norma Desmond. And basically, she's sort of having a, I don't want to say midlife crisis, because I think she's past the midway point. But she is at a point to where she's really not making films anymore. Since she was part of the silent era, again, having this take place sort of within the 1940s, 50s, that whole generation of filmmaking is kind of gone pretty much. So she's kind of left behind, so to speak, and she ends up deciding, though, to, I guess, put together a script. And she has this guy named Joe Gillis go over the script for her and basically kind of fix it up and whatnot, sort of like, I guess, being an editor for her. And you'll sort of see the circumstances and how Joe ends up getting in contact with Norma. And I kind of don't want to give that away because that makes it all a little bit more interesting, these little plot details. And this may seem like a straightforward story because basically the idea is that she wants to have somebody write off the script. So basically, get some director to say, yeah, sure, I'm going to do this project for you. And Joe's job is sort of to get it to that point so he can give them a really solid script. But things get a lot more complicated as time goes on with this plot. And again, this is the point to where I don't want to spoil it for anybody because there's a lot of little interesting bits and pieces together that make up this story that are quite interesting. And what's also great too is that the ending has a sort of more dark tone to it. But it's definitely well thought out, and you'll sort of see the context to it once the ending is there, and it's quite interesting and and a little hokey, but at the same time creepy and a little goofy, maybe even too, you could say. But overall, the characters as well as the performances are well done, and there is sort of a twisted nature you'll see to Norma's character because she is very, isolated from everything because sort of acting was her thing to do. And now that she's not really doing it anymore, she feels like her whole life is kind of being torn apart and, she's very kind of isolated from people, but she still has all of this wealth and, there's a lot to her as a character that I think people, even within the Hollywood industry in particular, can identify with, especially being on that level of fame. and then having it all of a sudden kind of just fade away from you, and people not necessarily caring anymore. And that's, I think, something that the film does try to explore and kind of tries to show you. Um, so I would definitely recommend it to people who enjoy these more uh, black and white styles of filmmaking. It obviously moves at that similar, slower pace in that, you're not going to get really big action sequences, or, you're not going to get people doing crazy stunts or anything. It's just really stripped down, like a lot of these black and white films are, where it's mostly people talking and then events happening and people just using the presence of the camera to try to kind of generate a story. And again, uh it's really like like plays, more so. You'll sort of see that Hollywood is still within this sort of phase when this film was made, to where there's more a sense of people just kind of acting and expressing dialogue, and not so much of action going on. Excuse me. So if you are not a fan of that, especially those older type movies that do these kinds of things, then it might not interest you as much. But if you enjoy the old style of filmmaking, if you see potential with the story, and as far as trying to express the sort of difficulties of a gone by career, as far as Hollywood is concerned, this will, I think, generate some appeal to you. But I think that's really all I can say about it without really giving too much away. I think a lot of people genuinely remember it for the fact that it focuses in on the Hollywood angle, but I think the fact that uh, Norma's character is so out there and a little outrageous and crazy, it makes it all the more intriguing of a piece of film history. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, we'd be more than happy to answer them. But until next time, everybody, bye bye.